get Levar Burton out here. Come on.
Stand right here, take a photo, show them the love here at FanX 2016. Oh, he's gonna take a photo as well. On the count of three, let's go nuts. 1, 2, 3. One more time, guys. 1, 2, 3.
Nice. Ow, that was awesome. Hi. Are you the first person in line? Yeah? What's her name? Deirdre? You have a question, Deirdre? What would your question be, Deirdre? What is my favorite episode of Reading Rainbow? Well, Deirdre, I'll tell you. My favorite episode of Reading Rainbow is probably the one where we're behind the scenes of Star Trek. And it was based on a Bionic Bunny show. And Michael Dorn came out of the trailer like a big Klingon, taking giant steps. Oh, you know what else we did? We showed you how the beaming happens by putting glitter in water and stirring it up and photographing that. You didn't know that? You knew that. You knew that was an effect, right? Oh, I'm bursting so many bubbles today. So, Deirdre, does that answer your question? What's your favorite episode of Reading Rainbow? Your favorite episode so far?
Is the first one.
The very first one. That was, the very first episode of Reading Rainbow was, oh, boy, am I getting old. Oh, it was based on a book about a kid whose father lost his job. And, boy, I can't remember the name of the book, but we went to the library in Weehawken, New Jersey, and did a musical number called Check It Out. You guys remember Check It Out? Everybody, give Deirdre a big hand for being the very first person. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
You know, we've been waiting to get you here.
Yes. The rest of the cast was here 2 years ago.
Yeah, but we were missing the important part.
And I missed out, but the good news is I have you all to myself this time.
Because you don't want to fight the time with those people.
You know what? You never want to fight with Marina, certainly. Because she doesn't fight fair.
All right, we got another question down here. What's your name?
Riley.
Hey, Riley.
What's your favorite scene of Reading Rainbow?
My favorite scene on Reading Rainbow? Well, I'll tell you what. My favorite song on Reading Rainbow is the Reading Rainbow song. Riley, do you know the Reading Rainbow song? You do? Riley, would you like to sing the Reading Rainbow song? Riley, how about if everybody in this room helps you sing the Reading Rainbow song? That'd be all right. All right, I'll start off, Riley, and you can just jump in anytime you want, okay? All right. Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow as much as I do. I mean, this is awesome.
Are there any Reading Rainbow fans in the house? I love this.
Yeah, I thought we'd all be asking Star Trek
It's a
questions.
particularly sophisticated crowd in Salt Lake City.
All right, I'm guessing this guy has a Star Trek question.
Speaking of sophisticated,
There we go.
So, when you were choosing your career, did you have a backup plan, or did you always just want to be an actor?
before I decided to become an actor, I was in the Catholic seminary. I studied for the priesthood for 4 years. So acting actually became my backup plan.
So you were a really pivotal part of my childhood, being in Reading Rainbow. And as I got older and met my wife, she got me into Star Trek. And I knew you as the Reading Rainbow guy, not as Geordi La Forge.
I answer to the Reading
Yeah.
Kunta, Geordi, Reading Rainbow guy. It's all good.
So what was like the biggest difference between both of those roles? I mean, obviously, Geordi is completely different from Reading Rainbow.
Well, I'll tell you, it's really simple. Geordi is a fictional character. The Reading Rainbow guy is me. It ain't rocket science, baby.
Check it out, look what she's wearing here.
You have on a Reading Rainbow t-shirt. Were you a contributor to the Reading Rainbow Kickstarter campaign?
Yes.
Yes, you were. I absolutely love that about you. What is your name?
My name is Caitlin Hatch.
Caitlin Hatch. Everybody, please meet Caitlin Hatch. Caitlin Hatch, this is everybody. Did you have a question, Caitlin?
Yeah. Also, I was thinking something in the line back there. I also thought two things.
You thought two things. What was the first thing you thought?
First thing, my favorite episode of Reading Rainbow is Enemy Pie.
I love Enemy Pie by Derek Munson. Such a great book. Such a great book.
My actual question
Uh-huh.
was, what year did you start Reading Rainbow?
That is such a great question, Miss Hatch. We began reading Rainbow in June of 1983. You were born in what year? What year were you born?
I was born 2006.
2006. I suppose that makes me really old. Well, as Groucho would have said, you're a lovely person and we're crazy if we don't get married, but it's time to play You Bet Your Life. Caitlin Hatch, everybody.
I was wondering, what was your favorite book or book series growing up?
My favorite book or book series growing up. I like to refer to the book that I was reading when I really got what reading was. Rudyard Kipling, Captain's Courageous, 3rd grade. And when I finished that book, I didn't recognize it then, but I know now that that profound sadness that fell over me was that very same sense of depression that I still experience when I close the last page of a good novel.
Has there been anything as far as that you've performed in that has had that same sort of feeling for you? The end of Star Trek, anything like that?
Well, the end of Star Trek, the end of Next Generation was really not the end because we went right into doing Generations. And it's, even though we're not together every day like we used to be, we're all still pretty close. I'm sure you guys saw when the rest of the cast was here a couple of years ago. We really do love each other, and we tend to make one another laugh more than anybody else in our respective lives. So when we get together, it's like we're in high school.
Were you excited to get rid of the visor?
Yes.
Yes. I was so excited. I hate that thing.
You know, Rick Berman always said that the visor was a way of telegraphing the technological sophistication of the 24th century. And I thought, well, that's great, Rick, but if we're so technologically sophisticated, how come we can't put that damn thing in a little smaller bit of technology? So finally in the movies, we did. And I am forever grateful. And the visor that I wore sits in the box that the prop master, Charlie Russo, brought to me every time I put the visor on. And it is my most fond, aside from the relationships, it's my most fond memory of Next Gen.
Yeah, it was fantastic. You got the contacts that you wore in the film.
I have those too. I have those too. And what's weird about those contacts is that they were just black lines on a white field. That's all it was. Just black lines on white. And when I put them in my eyes, there was some sort of weird effect that turned my eyes kind of this really creepy blue.
Creepy is the
Creepy.
creepy.
You lost your voice. Okay, so you wrote the question down on your iPhone, and the lady next to you is going to read it.
Would you rather live in the Star Trek universe or in your favorite book?
Good question. Well, what if my favorite book happens to be Star Trek
Let's face it, the holodeck.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go with that.
I'd like to know why Geordi La Forge did not have as many love interests in Next Gen.
I wish the hell I knew. I'm not a bad-looking guy. I think, in all honesty, the writers, really enjoyed the old trope that the engineer, the nerd, was awkward around women.
But you're so handsome. It was such a waste.
Everybody on that ship had sex but Jordan. The android had more sex than the chief engineer. There's something fundamentally wrong with that.
I agree.
Not fair. Simply not fair.
Maybe the next movie.
Say again?
Maybe the next movie. The next movie.
The next movie? Wow.
Maybe this time she won't be married and you can actually have the,
You know what? Why not?
Hello, I was just wondering, since you participated in both the Star Trek Next Generation television show and and all 4 of the next-gen movies. Do you think Star Trek works better as a television show or as a movie, and why?
Yes. I think Star Trek: The Next Generation works, and I think it works mostly because we really get a sense that those people care about one another, and because they care about one another, and because they are some of the best at what they do, and they ride around in that very cool ship. I think we care about what happens to them as well. So I think whether it's in the movies or on TV, I think Next Gen is a pretty good show.
And how about the franchise as a whole? Or Star Trek in general?
How about Star Trek as a whole?
Yeah, better as movie or TV?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to ask if you thought modern children's television is lacking in the educational level that, like, Reading Rainbow held. Well, let's see. What's out there in children's educational TV these days? I think you have your answer.
The latest book that you've read that you really loved?
Well, I love science fiction. I'm always reading science fiction. And one of the things that's always open on my iPad is the year's best in science fiction. It's a compendium of short fiction, short stories. And I love short stories because no matter who, I mean, Poe, Henry, I love the short story form. Very difficult to write a terrific tale, beginning, middle, and end in 30, 40 pages. So I love the year's best in science fiction, and they're all edited and compiled by Gardner Dozois, and I think they're terrific. Yeah.
Hi. Hey. So, first off, I just want to say I'm a big fan. Yeah. I've seen every episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Okay, yeah, just get to the point. Okay. Sorry, I'm just so excited I can barely talk. Okay, I just want to know, who came up with the visor and what did that thing feel like to have? Yeah.
I think it was Michael Okuda who came up with the visor. They were looking for some sort of design, and I think Michael was taking Denise, his wife, to the movies, and she went to tie her hair back or something, and she had a banana clip. And Michael said, "Hey, let me see that." And he took it into work the next day, and there it began 7 years of hell.
Hi, I really loved your guest appearance on Community, and I feel a lot like Troy right now. So I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that experience, how they kind of approached you and asked you to be in that episode, and what it was like for you.
First of all, let me say I'm a big Dan Harmon fan. Okay? I think the man is a genius. He's batshit crazy, and he's a genius. So I was a big fan of Community, and a huge Donald Glover fan, so I was thrilled to get the call. And when I read the script, I was really thrilled, and they were so wonderful, nice to me every day. And I'm sorry that the show is no longer on the air. I thought it was one of the best things on TV when it was on TV. Are they serious? They're trying.
Yeah, shopping it around.
That'd be amazing.
Hi, Lavar. My name is Lucas Henry.
Hey, Lucas Henry.
Hey. So I'm a voice actor and what I consider to be an edutainer. And I've always considered you to be an idol in that field of making education very entertaining. It's not just something that you read through and you go through and it's they're laughing at the hand.
Yeah. Well, you are an entertainer.
Well, thanks. I've learned to deal with it. So. But I was just wondering, what kind of advice would you have for me to try and get into the field? And I mean, I have a lot of material that I'm doing, a lot of podcasting, but how can I get to a point, where you're at?
Well, let's see. Host of a really popular children's television series for 30 years, and bam, you're there.
And I am pitching something to PBS this summer, so.
Say again?
I have a show that I'm pitching to PBS this summer.
Oh, fantastic. I wish the best for you. And your hands.
Hi, Lavar. I'm Lizzie.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hi. So, just a quick side note. We have a mutual friend. You endorsed a book by James A. Owen, who is actually a friend of my dad's family.
Absolutely. I love James Owen.
Yeah. I like him too. So, yeah. Anyway,
have you seen him lately, Lizzie?
last time I saw him was actually here at Comic-Con last fall.
Last fall?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good.
He's a good guy.
Uh-huh.
You guys know James A. Owen? Yeah? Lizzie and I know him.
Yeah. So
we like him a lot.
So what I wanted to ask you was there ever a topic of the day for Reading Rainbow that you never got around to that you would have liked to explore on the show?
Well, see, that's the thing. We shoot new Reading Rainbow video field trips all the time. So all of the things that we never got to do when Reading Rainbow was a television show, we are now doing with the Reading Rainbow app in our digital online library. So last year we went to Israel and we were able to shoot about 10 or 11 stories there. We've been to the White House a couple of times. They let us into the National Treasury where they make America's money with the Reading Rainbow cameras. That was pretty cool.
Did you get it?
No. But they let me hold a brick of 20s, $20,000 in $20 bills.
How would they notice if you don't want?
They notice. So I'm really happy to be able to continue doing video field trips and continuing to encourage the love of the written word in this new generation of kids. Thanks, Lizzie. Tell James I said hey. Okay.
Hi, Lavar.
Hi.
It's great having you here. Thanks so much for coming. So I have a question in regards to the Reading Rainbow app, more the business side.
On the business side?
Yeah, let me say first of all, I love the app.
You love the app?
It's fantastic. And I understand you guys are running a business.
Yes, we are.
And people need to make their royalties.
Sure.
And $5 a month is not unreasonable.
I don't believe so, not for all the content we have.
Yeah, but I was just wondering.
But I knew there was a but comment.
But I was wondering, rather than charge for a monthly subscription, have you guys looked into trying to get funding from PBS or from the government and make the app and website free?
I would like nothing more than to be able to make Reading Rainbow free. Absolutely. Here's the thing. We license those books from publishers, and so we have to pay the authors and the illustrators royalties, right? We are looking at several different ways to continue to give Reading Rainbow away. When we did the Kickstarter and raised the Kickstarter money for Every Child Everywhere, it was specifically to build a product specifically for schools, which we have done and deployed just this month to coincide with National Reading Month. So our Skybury School Service, we've pledged as a result of the Kickstarter raise to give that product away to 10,000 classrooms, and we are over halfway there already. As far as the consumer service, Skybury Family is concerned, the school version is called Skybury School. The consumer version, we rebranded Skyberry Family. I would love to be able to give Skyberry Family away. And if you know of a high net worth individual or a corporation who is willing to underwrite that effort, please send them to me. Thank you.
Hi. Growing up, my mom was always telling me the story about when you were in Roots and they told you to take off running, that you would be caught and they couldn't catch you. Could you elaborate just a little bit on that?
Well, the part you left out was that the person who was chasing me was O.J. Simpson. And I bet if OJ was chasing you, you'd run like the Dickens too.
So, speaking of Roots, if you only knew then what you know now.
That's gonna show up on the internet.
Hi, I'm Nicholas. So my question is, what would you say is your crowning achievement that you would say that you can hang your hat on that?
No, Roots was pretty monumental.
Have you all seen Roots? Can I plug this? It's coming out on Blu-ray in June.
Yes, yes it is.
So if you haven't seen it, June.
Also, we have remade Roots for a new generation. Did you guys know this? The remake of Roots is going to be broadcast this coming Memorial Day weekend. 4 consecutive nights, 8 hours. We made 4 2-hour movies on 2 continents with 4 different directors simultaneously. And I'm incredibly proud of this new telling of Roots for a new generation of Americans who don't know the story and need to. So, there's Roots, there's Star Trek, which I'm enormously proud of, but I've got to say, in answer to your question, I really do believe that Reading Rainbow is the most important work I've ever done.
Hi.
Hi.
When I was about 16, my dad introduced me to Roots, and it's a very difficult show to watch just based on the subject matter.
Sure.
Was it as difficult to film because of the subject
Yes.
matter as it was to watch?
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. There were days that were emotionally very, very difficult. And still, I've considered it an absolute privilege to have. And look, during some of the escape scenes, the chains that I wore around my ankles got raw and swollen to the point that they had to scrape. There was a little pad on the inside of the chains. They just had to scrape it out just so we could get them closed. But as much discomfort as I was in, I was acutely aware every single moment that my ancestors went through this for real. And that any pain or suffering that I was enduring in the recreation of those moments was absolutely worth it, without question.
So, we know now Roots is what's happening as a kind of landmark television program.
Yeah.
Was it well received when it first came out?
The final episode of Roots is still in the top 5 of the most watched episodes of television in the history of the medium. Roots had an audience of 130 million people. That means that half of America was watching it when it was on. That will never happen again. Drawing that kind of audience. Back in the day, there were 3 networks in PBS. You couldn't time shift. There was no DVR. There was no VCR. You had to watch TV when it was on. And Roots galvanized this nation. It was what people were doing at night, and it became the national conversation for weeks thereafter. It was incredibly well received.
on shows. Recently read Roots as well, and it's a very hard read. It's a very moving story.
It is. I agree.
I was wondering, I knew that you directed the reboot of it, so to speak, or the remake.
Well, I produce. I'm an executive producer, yeah. Our directors are terrific. Philip Noyce, Thomas Carter, Mario Van Peebles, and Bruce Ferris, four wonderful, wonderful filmmakers. Yeah.
I was just hoping you could say something about the difference between being behind the camera and being in front of the camera between the two.
Well, you know what? It's been a really it's been a wonderful year in many respects. Because next year will be the 40th anniversary of Roots. Roots aired in January of 1977, but this year is the 40th anniversary of us having made Roots. So in the 40th anniversary year of making Roots, we were making a remake of Roots, and I had the opportunity to have a hand in casting the actor who plays Kunta Kinte. And I can't, it's very difficult for me to express how that feels. I learned this year that life oftentimes feels like we're moving in a straight line. But my experience based on this past year is that life is really circular in nature. And I felt like I had come back to the same place, but it's different. I mean, I'm different. I'm 40 years old. As if you couldn't tell. The world is much different than it was in 1976. And as much time has gone by, I don't believe that our timing for the release of this new version of Roots could be any better. It is amazing and astounding to me. Some of the things that we still have yet, forget getting to the 24th century and a vision where all diversity is honored. Infinite diversity in infinite combination and a respect for all of that. It's one of the things that I've always loved about Gene Roddenberry's vision. It's the kind of world I want to live in. Clearly, we have a lot of work to do still. Jody? Jory.
Yes.
J-O-R-Y?
Close. I-E.
J-O-R-I-E.
Yeah, I would get my name confused with yours all the time by people.
So, Jory, would you like to change that J to a G?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm good with the J.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
This is my final offer.
If the final offer is respectfully rejected.
Wow. I admire your resolve, young lady. I admire your resolve.
Although most people wouldn't guess I'm 31, so. Okay. My question for you is, now I have lost it.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you 31?
Yes. Born in 1985. Proud of it.
Wow. You look fabulous.
Thank you. But
do you get carded all the time?
I do.
Yeah. I mean, for your driver's license.
Yes.
When you're behind the wheel.
Not behind the wheel so much, no. I haven't gotten accused of joyriding. No.
Okay. Because if I was a cop and I pulled you over and you were behind the wheel, I would ask to see your driver's license to verify that you are of legal age to operate a motor vehicle.
The closest I got to that was actually when I was in Las Vegas one time at the Rio. They did think my ID was fake and found it wasn't.
I'm shocked, Jordan. Simply shocked. Did you remember your question?
Out of all the things you can do as an actor, do you prefer working TV and movies or Broadway or voice acting?
Jory, I'll be honest with you. I like working.
I got bills to pay, girl. I got a kid in college. I got a wife who likes shoes.
Jimmy Choo?
Jimmy Choo. Jimmy Choo.
Hello, my name's Sean, and I have to say that I loved watching Reading Rainbow when I was a kid, and it helped really foster a deep love of reading that's, persistent to this day. And I was wondering, when Reading Rainbow first started, whose idea was it? I mean, were you the guy, or was that your Reading?
I'm not that guy, Sean. No. That guy is a woman.
Well, how did you get in?
Her name is Dr. Twilight Lincoln.
Were you approached, or?
I was approached.
Yeah.
I was approached.
So I'd just like to hear about how the whole Reading Rainbow thing started.
Well, it started as a response to what teachers call the summer slide, Sean. The idea that an emerging reader, when they take that summer vacation, their reading and comprehension skills plummet, was puzzling and troublesome to a lot of folks in the educational community. In the 80s, it was no secret where America's children were hanging out. They were hanging out in front of the TV. And so the radical idea at that time was, let's, in a very counterintuitive way, use the opportunity of access that television gives us and try and steer kids back in the direction of literature and the written word. Sounds crazy. It was crazy, but it worked.
Hello, it's an honor to meet you.
What's your name?
Michael.
Hey, Michael.
In your last episode of Next Generation, where you talked about Leah, your wife, was that supposed to be Leah Bronx?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I also love your shoes.
Oh, thank you, Sean. Thank you very much, Michael.
Yeah. Well, your Star Trek experience didn't end at the end of even the movies. You directed some episodes.
Yeah, I did. I went into the directing rotation of Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and Enterprise. Directed a lot of Trek. A lot.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Pen. Where is your favorite place to relax and read? I mean, you can do it anywhere with their books, but almost everyone has their space.
Right. My favorite place to read is on the beach in Barbados. With a cocktail.
Hey, my name is Phil. I'm just wondering, when you were doing Reading Rainbow, did you ever wish you could approach to an older audience?
You know, people ask me all the time, when are you going to do Reading Rainbow for adults? And I'm actually contemplating doing a podcast where I read aloud.
Did you just have you read to me?
I love reading aloud, and who doesn't love being read to?
Yeah, but who doesn't love having you read to them?
Well, that's why I'm thinking of doing a podcast. I think we'll call it After the Rainbow.
I think you're gonna work on that.
You think?
Okay, maybe not. Sorry. What do you guys think?
Or Beyond the Rainbow. I think Beyond the Rainbow is.
Hi, my name is Morgan, and I was wondering if you'd rather play in Star Trek or Star Wars.
Morgan. Come here. Away with you, sir.
these days.
Does that count as, could be considered offensive to the guests?
Morgan, I'll tell you. Star Trek, hands down.
You wouldn't turn down a lightsaber. You'd do it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, if God were to ever pull a lightsaber on me, all I'd have to do is pull out my phaser and zap him.
Well, hey,
I'm just saying.
hi Michael. Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Good. So Reading Rainbow was like really influential for my childhood, and I was wondering, like, out of all your roles, like, if you could reprise one, which one would you like take another job for? Out of all of your different jobs, you know.
Played a blind guy on Fantasy Island once. I'd like to bring him back. Oh wait, we did that in space.
Is that how you got the job?
Hi, my name is Clara. My question is, what's your first favorite rainbow to make and what's your least favorite rainbow to make?
Wow, Claire, that is a good question. Animals and kids. Never worked with animals or children. They'll upstage you every time. Claire, is that your sister next to you?
Uh-huh.
What is her name?
Ruby.
Ruby. Claire, are you the older sister of Ruby? Is she a good younger sister? I think we have our answer. Ruby, love your t-shirt. You're welcome.
I love your show.
Oh. I take back everything I was thinking, Ruby. You are a delightful, delightful child. So Claire, my favorite episode of Reading Rainbow to make was My Little Island, where we went to Montserrat. I love the Caribbean, and anytime I can spend time in my favorite place on the planet is a good time for me. My least favorite episode of Reading Rainbow, it was probably when I got trampled by goats. Oh, maybe it was when I got spit on by the camel. Or maybe bitten by the snapping turtle, you know. They put me in a lot of situations where my life was in jeopardy, Claire, but I survived.
Alright guys, so we've only got a couple of minutes left. We're going to one more question. Can we have one more question?
Hi, Lavar. My name is Galen.
Galen.
An arts mentor.
Hi.
And I was wondering if you think that the current Star Trek franchises, the movies that are being made, are in the spirit of the original, with focus on social justice issues.
He only has 3 minutes.
Galen, my mother said, if you can't say something nice, I'll say two things.
One, I think that J.J. Abrams has done a terrific job of rebooting Star Trek. However, I do have two small criticisms. Number one, he seemed bent on ameliorating the timeline in which Next Gen exists. That kind of pisses me off. And second, I miss Gene's vision in these movies. I think they're lovely, terrific action movies, but Galen, I miss the hope. I miss the social commentary, and more than anything else, I miss Gene's vision. Ryan, has our time come to an end?
Time has come to an end.
I hate that about our time, that it's come to an end.
It's still amazing.
Well, I'll tell you what, you all are amazing. I mean that. Who's the guy with the microphone? He's just wandering around. His mic's not on.
I'll speak for him that way.
Everybody, can you give it up for Lavar?
Oh!